Good morning. I did just wake up. Well, actually, I woke up about an hour ago, but I have a busy day today, so I wanted to kind of talk about this. I just got my test results back in, and the cancer was not surprising. It's where it is, and it's gone down a little bit. And the cancer that was in my gallbladder is gone, so that was a good thing. Um, because it had metastasized a bit. That's what stage 3 means. So there's still a little bit in my liver, so it is still stage 3. Um, so what surprised me was I found out that I have a congenital heart condition. I never knew about this. And that's something that I'm kind of taking in this morning. And I'm kind of a little bit in shock. I sent the message to my big sister. She's a nurse. This has kind of shaped my existence. I still have ears. Nothing happened to them. Uh, and they're still gigantic. So, that's why I have an eating disorder. Um, I did not want to eat when I was little, and it turned into a big battle with my parents. And it's because I couldn't. And I mean, that's really oversimplifying things. My mother was a war survivor, and there are definitely things that went into that from that. Nobody that's a child of somebody that went through what my mother went through during World War II comes out normal. You know, I mean, just to kind of summarize it, my mother was in Indonesia, and she's rich. She was a child and Eurasian, and the Japanese did not like Eurasian people during World War II, and they tormented them and tortured them, and they threw my grandfather in a POW camp. He was really retired from the military, but he died in that POW camp. And my two of my uncles had been conscripted in the military service. They were like a junior and a senior in high school, I think. They had to go fight in World War II. And Greatest Generation, they were still kids, and it was a dire situation. They got invaded, and this was an experience for the Netherlands. It was an experience for Great Britain. They had to send their high school students out immediately and like draft them to fight. And, that happened in the United States as well. Kids were like rushing over to join the Marines and the Army and, paratroopers and things like that in World War II. And they got taken prisoner. If you've ever heard the story about uh, it was in the Manila, I think, and they got force marched. A lot of the soldiers died, but that happened in Indonesia too. They got taken to the Burma Road. One of my uncles was forced to work on the Burma Road, and they made a movie about it. It was called The Bridge of the River Kwai. My my uncle John was his name was Jan, but that's what it translates in English. He had to work on that, and he had PTSD from that, and it cropped up later in life. He was the jolliest guy. He's just so friendly, and he he had to work on that, and he had a crippling fear of heights, and they forced him to cross like some kind of a ravine on a plank. And he was like 17 years old when he had to go through that. And my uncle Jacob had to work in a coal mine in right outside Nagasaki. And those were the ones that were in the military. My mother was a little girl and had to be in a POW camp. So, not normal, healthy attitudes towards food in my family to begin with. Well, that's kind of the background. And then it turns out there's something going on with, and I don't remember the name of it yet, but apparently there's like a vagus nerve, or not vagus nerve, it's some kind of a vein that's like wrapped around my esophagus or something. And it's fairly common. It's not like super, super common, but I never knew I had it. It showed up on the CT. So, and it causes you to like not want to eat. So, I've had that my entire life and I never knew about it. So, this caused like big battles when I was little because I didn't want to eat. And I'm kind of taking that in this morning because that kind of like really ruined my life. I mean, I had so many problems because of that. And now I know why. And 1970s medicine was not exactly where it is now. But also, doctors were not really very quick to listen to children. You know, uh, my pediatrician chalked it up to feeling rejected because I had a new little sister. And I was kind of like, what the F? I was like, my little sister's cute and I want to play with her. I didn't understand why they were saying all these like 70s psychobabble crap, you know. Um, that was not describing how I felt at all, but I got Sprite. And I got corn muffins, which were palatable to me. I had to make a list of stuff that I would like to eat, like spaghetti. So I made this list and it was taped to the cabinet. So that was like my diet through childhood. Well, it turns out that my one of my ventricles or whatever it is, I have to look that thing up again. I just read it this morning. It's wrapped around my esophagus. So, no, I had a congenital heart condition. I was not jealous of my little sister. So, 70s medicine chalked up to being incompetent again. I firmly believe that medicine before 1996 was garbage. Except for the polio vaccine, that was kind of a good thing. Vaccines were pretty good. Although I did have a classmate in elementary school that was in a wheelchair because something went wrong with hers. But it's, for the most part, it was pretty good with the vaccines. They did eradicate smallpox before I was born, so um, I don't have the little scar. That was gone. I never got a smallpox vaccine. It was already gone. But in general, they really did not know a lot of things and stuff. I mean, like the doctor told my mother that I was going to be a boy because I had a strong heartbeat. Which is witchcraft. This was the head gynecologist at an Ascension hospital in, I'm not going to say where I was born. That's personal information. It was a city that should have known better. That's just flat out witchcraft. They might have said, your baby's hanging low. You're going to have a strong heartbeat. Why didn't they pick up my heart condition? I'm wondering if that's why I have asthma too. Well, that's probably because my dad's a chain smoker. I'm sure that didn't help. But anyway, so I'm just kind of taking all of that in, and I'm just amazed that, well, this is the first time I've ever had a CT on my chest, and the good folks at Aetna didn't want to pay for it, but they did. It was part of the whole procedure, so they did it anyway, and they needed to do it because I've still got some cancer in my liver. So that was a necessary part of the procedure. So F you, Aetna. And I'm just overall, I don't know what significance other than just kind of giving me some closure on this whole thing from my childhood. It's not really a significant condition. I read up on it, and I mean, I don't remember the name of it already because it has some really long fancy name, and I haven't been able to read anything that it actually impacts them other than not being able to swallow food properly. So I'm just blown away by that. They didn't have CT scans when I was little, by the way. I know this because my dad, after we moved to Florida, after we lived overseas, worked on CT scan machines, and that was a brand new technology. So I'm aware about when they started using those. It was in the early 80s. So I don't know. Maybe they were invented before that. I don't know, but I'd never heard of a thing like that before that. Um, so I guess the takeaway from this is if you have a little kid that doesn't want to eat, maybe have them checked out instead of just assuming it's something psychological. People really need to get th- things checked by doctors instead of psychologists. I've long advocated for that. If you're going through a depression, go to a neurologist. Don't go to a psychologist about it unless you absolutely know it's caused by something like, a trauma or whatever. Go to a neurologist because, my uh, 2 years of pre-med brain is not qualified for diagnosing things. But, in theory, it could be caused by a tumor at the very least, and you need to get that checked out. But there's all kinds of medical conditions that can cause depression, like kidney disease and, stuff like that. So, like every other disease has depression as a symptom. So you need to actually get checked for a disease before you go and ask for a Abilify or Prozac or whatever. So, get checked for a reason for anything before you run over and ask for antidepressants, because you might actually have a physiological thing that's causing your symptom. And just like when I was 6 years old, there was a reason I was not eating. It's because I had a heart condition, not because I was jealous of my little sister. And that applies to children, that applies to 55-year-olds, that applies to 80-year-olds. Get checked for a condition before you assume it's psychological. And if it is psychological, there are psychologists that can help you through it. So, anyway, that's my wow, I had a mind-blowing epiphany this morning moment. And that's what happened with the test results. So, I have a lot to take in, and I'm going to go pick up my not pick up my passport, but apply for it and have a rush job done on it. So, um, that's my errand. I also have to go ask them to move my garbage cans for me because they're heavy, and I'm not really in a condition where I can be moving them back and forth and stuff. So, hope you have a good day and a good weekend, and catch up with you later. Bye.